Hello, everybody. So this is a bit of a strange one. So someone let me know earlier that Lorne has a new RSO photo. So of course I have to make a video, and it really like if some people knew what I did, like in my spare time, I can't imagine what would happen. But anyway,
You'd be in
luckily,
prison.
well, I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking about this stuff. But
Right.
luckily, you're as sad as me, Adam, aren't you?
Probably sadder, but
Well, maybe not. Probably on equal footing, but let's both bask in the glory that is Lorne Armstrong, shall we?
oh yes, just what the radiation coming from him now of that picture. I mean,
Uh, what's your initial impressions of it? I'm not happy with the colour of his t-shirt.
why?
I don't like that colour. Just thought I'd mention it.
I can't see it very well. What color is it? Like brown?
Yeah.
I got some brown t-shirts. I got no problem with that. I quite like brown
Fucking
t-shirts.
freak. But I would suggest that the colour of his t-shirt is the least of his problems, and also the
Yeah.
least of the photograph's problems.
I mean,
I
it's
can like the bags under his eyes have got like considerably worse.
well, his face is just sort of melting into his neck, and sooner or later he's just going to be like one funnel.
It's like something's gone wrong. So the one side of his face, it's like um, something. It's like a black hole is sucking the right side of his face away.
Oh, it
And he's
is, isn't it? Look, it's really lopsided. Although that would be the left because it's mirrored, right? So that's the left side of his face, and it's all droopy.
oh, that's true. Yeah, yeah,
Um, but yeah, no, I see that now. Like that left eye is lower than the right eye.
yeah.
He's not
So
symmetrical, is he?
it looks like his left ear is a black hole and it's sucking his face. So he'll just be an ear.
Yeah, I'd never even noticed before that. Like the left side of his face is lower than the right side. It's like his right side didn't age as quickly as the left side. That's fucked up.
Of course it is.
I mean, he does. He's looking more and more like Sloth from the Goonies every time I see him.
And it's like the only time we get one of the only times we get to see him without a hat on,
Yeah,
with his horseshoe haircut.
it's Homer's haircut, isn't it? It's blatantly Homer Simpson's haircut.
Yeah. Do you know what? I don't think he'd actually. If he just shaved. What do you think he'd look like if he did a me and just shaved it off?
I don't know. I don't know if I mean, there's not really any hope for him, is he? He's sort of like an ugly fat freak now. So like,
Well, that's very charming. I hope he's not listening.
I don't care if he is. I hope he is listening. I really don't care. He doesn't care what I think of him. He'll just be like, "Oh, there's that Edward Snowden again."
That was funny. Um, yeah. Do you know? Before I was thinking, like, if Lorne had to set up a dating profile and he just set a link to his sex offender registry, just rather than posting a photograph,
Well,
all his information's on there: address, vital statistics. You know, like age and height. You know,
weight and height to combine its hate.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, I mean, imagine Lorne having a Tinder profile. We should set one up and just see if he gets any matches. We
Can you
should.
imagine if he got like more than us?
He might well do because I'm just going to click a swipe right on everyone, to be honest. So and see if anyone matches with him. That'd be quite an interesting little social experiment. Although then you would have to admit to the people that you matched with that this was just an experiment to see if you fancied a sex offender.
Yeah, but are you saying that within that profile you'd actually say, because no one in the right mind would put
No,
that they're a sex offender in a dating profile unless it was like stipulated in the law.
well, I don't think he wouldn't be allowed to have one, would he? Theoretically, because it would be outside the
Oh
terms
yeah,
of his
that's an interesting
restriction.
question. Would he actually be allowed one? No, I don't think he actually would.
I mean,
Because
I don't know because I know when he had the monitor. I mean, I don't know whether he's allowed to meet, because technically those sites are, should always be women over 18 anyway and verified. So
Can you imagine if he was selecting his search parameters and it was like 11 to 16 and he tried selecting it, and each time he selected it to that lower level, there was like an alarm that went off. The police are on their way to your address. While you wait, please buy a police t-shirt. You have the right to remain fabulous. I nicked that for Simpsons.
I hope that there isn't parameters on any dating site that has 11 to 13-year-olds, but
there is. Trust me. Oh shit! I've said too much.
Do you know what he'd probably do? He'd probably go on like Minecraft or Roblox and try and mac on little kids there.
That's an interesting question. If Lorne, let's say that in an alternate universe, Lorne was 37 in this day and age, looking for young love, shall we say?
Loves young dream.
Would he, rather than doing what he did and go in a country music chat room, which of course he didn't, would he try something a bit more sophisticated and go on Minecraft?
I wonder. I don't know.
I don't think he'd have the brains to figure that out.
I think he's got zero interest. The thing with Lorne, I know we've discussed it many times before, is he has zero interests outside of shouting at people on the telephone.
That's not true, dude. I think you're doing him a disservice there. There's his music, his cooking, his
you can call
writing, his poetry, his weightlifting.
Yeah.
What else? Entrepreneur.
Oh, that reminds me. Before we finish, am I allowed to read the poem I wrote for you out before the end of this?
Go on then.
Not now, but when we're wrapping up.
Oh yeah, Adam was that bored the other day that he wrote me a poem.
I was very pleased with it though. It
is pretty good.
Yeah, it took me about 15 minutes. But yeah, I wonder now if he would, like, because he was around in like days of MySpace, wasn't he? And I think like it all happened even before Facebook sort of came and went. But I wonder now what sites he would choose, because those sort of old school chat rooms don't exist anymore, as far as I'm aware. So he would have. I wonder if he'd be like stalking people on Reddit or something.
That's I don't think we've ever, with all the streams I've done with Shannon, Amanda James and Tiffany, I don't think we've ever we've not discussed it in any detail, so it is interesting. But like you say, it'd have to be the limits of what he's capable of doing. The thing is, with those chat rooms, it was very, I mean, the idiot even had his screen name as his real name. You know what I mean? Not that he thought he was in any danger, but so I suppose I'm asking, what I'm wondering is, what would he feel comfortable in doing? Would he feel comfortable in, getting a PS4 account and doing whatever, on there, going on Minecraft? What's the other game?
You just said, like, he has these. I mean, he has those interests like music and cooking, but they're all really to just impress women, though, aren't they? The only reason.
No, I don't think that's true. I think that he genuinely has an interest in those things. I think that he really likes his music. I
strongly disagree. Have you seen what he cooks? That is not a person that has an interest in cooking.
Right, but he definitely has an interest in music. I'm not saying he's any good.
Yeah.
I'm not, but he is, because everybody likes music, but some people like it to varying degrees and have an actual interest and passion in it. I would argue, I might get shot down for this, but he does have a passion in music. He has more of a passion in underage girls, but
but he has a passion for just country music solely, and even his knowledge on country music is pretty poor. He knows about like a few different artists. I would definitely not, personally, I wouldn't consider him passionate about music. I mean, I've heard him play the guitar and sing, but he knows about one genre. But even that, when he's questioned on it, there was a call a while back where they were doing like trivia questions about country music, and he couldn't get like any of it right. Like, sometimes I do, like, we know he's got a very low IQ and is possibly borderline retarded, but he's like, I don't know if he's even aware that Miley Cyrus is Billy Ray Cyrus's daughter or anything like that. Like, I think his country music comes to, like, he'll hear something on the radio or something. Like, he's like a nothing person, or at least this is my perception. Like, he just watches whatever shit's on TV, and normally it's the same thing, like over and over. Like, you'd never hear him going, "Oh wow, I've just watched Breaking Bad, it's amazing," or anything like that. It's always the same shit from 20, 30 years ago. He's just stuck in a time warp.
Well, he's like the jack of all trades and the master of none. He never puts any specific effort or time into it. I mean, you only have to read his book to notice that. And that when he was in prison. So he has all these interests, like cooking, he doesn't do it properly. You know, the book, he didn't do that properly. His guitar playing is mediocre at best. I mean, it's shit. He can form a few chords, but he's got no rhythm. He hasn't put any effort into his singing.
And when he sings, he instead of actually trying to hit the notes, he just screams or shouts instead.
Yeah, so I think that's why, because he doesn't try and specialize in anything. He doesn't put the right effort into it. That's why he doesn't know anything, you know.
When I see that picture, and I know about what he is capable of, like, the first words that come to mind is just shit cunt.
Fair enough. I'd love it if that photo was his album cover, his debut album cover.
What would his album be called, though?
It'd have to have Young in the title, wouldn't it?
Well, do you remember the Young MC? So young Lynn Armstrong.
Lorne, will there ever be a rainbow? Yeah, well, we could. I'm sure there'll be some interesting comments, even though we can't actually come up with a nifty title now.
I'm trying to. I'm just trying to think of plays on words of like most famous album titles. Bridge Over Troubled Child.
Fuck.
The Tie album. That's a bit of a stretch. That one, obviously the White album. Actually, that was quite a good pun. Tight stretch. But anyway, sorry.
Sergeant Something's Lonely Heart Club Band. We could make it
Armstrong's Lonely Hearts Club.
Yeah, because we could make a bit of a play on that, couldn't we? Because, you know, Lonely Heart, he was a sergeant, as in he was formerly in the army. We could do something with that. Definitely pedo, as in rather than definitely maybe.
Yeah, definitely pedo. Yeah.
But this could go on forever. To be fair.
It could. I'm just trying to think of other album titles. It's been ages because I just listened to everything on Spotify, so I haven't seen album covers in a long time.
Well, hang on, right?
The Three Minors instead of the Three Tenors.
Yeah, that's a good one, that. The Three Minors. That would be Kayla, Kimmy, and Disney Girl.
Exactly. Yeah. And then throw in Amanda Tate for good measure.
The B-sharps. Baby on board, something, Burt Ward. This thing writes itself. Anyway, yeah. So, anything else about his? Well, he don't look. I was going to say he don't look too happy, but if I was having my RSO photo taken, I wouldn't be jumping for joy and looking.
I think he's got a bit of a smirk, if you ask me.
Well, I was just thinking that it doesn't. If you look at his previous ones, because I've got them all framed on my wall.
It's like people have their platinum discs. You've just got his RSO photos through the years.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for him to get signed.
You should have asked him at the court case.
I know, Christ.
You'll regret that forever.
Maybe. I'm waiting for him to get sent down again. What was I saying? It's fucking gone now. Smirk. Most of his have a smirk. And it kind of says a lot about his character, because we've always wondered, like, how is this guy not depressed? How is this guy not stood over at the edge of a cliff going, contemplating it?
Can I talk about something? And it will make sense, but I need to explain something because it's a bit tenuous. So I've been reading a book about Arsene Wenger, and he was talking about how
People are not going to know who he is.
All right, so Arsene Wenger was the most successful manager of Arsenal, the football team that I support, for 20 plus years.
And that's soccer for anybody that's...
soccer. team. Sorry for our American friends, but. And he was a great manager, but so this book was sort of like a warts and all reveal thing. And it was saying about how he never wanted people to know that he used it as a sports psychologist, because now it's like commonplace. But 20 years ago, it was not, it's thought of as like being a bit soft or whatever. But and now this is going to be really random. You might remember him, Andy, and maybe any English people, but there used to be a player called Nicholas Bentner.
I remember him. Danish.
Yeah. Danish player, and he had the number, I think it was 68 on his back to represent the wages, or 50, which at the time 50,000 or 68,000 was a huge amount of wages for him to be on. And he was basically a reserve player, but they had this like questionnaire set out by the psychologist, and it was for a scale of self-belief from 1 to 9, and Nicholas Bentner scored a 10. Because even when he would miss an open goal from 2 yards, he would manage to find someone else or something else to blame it on. But in sports, it's not actually the worst trait to have, because it means you've also got a great ability to bounce back. But this, I think, is what Lorne has, obviously got. He cannot, even if he has blatantly made a mistake or missed a sitter, so to speak, he will find someone else to blame it on. He's got such a warped perception of himself and his self-belief that if he wasn't such a vile human being, it could almost be considered a good quality.
100%, yeah. We've often talked about that, because I think it's like a survival mechanism for him, and it's worked quite well for him. It's kind of a bit of a it's not really, it's a bit of a paradox, really, because it's not worked well for him because that's what's led him down this path of not growing and ended up in this pointless whatever it is. But also, it's protected him from bearing the brunt of doing despicable things. It's not his fault.
Yeah.
So it kind of is his saviour and also his demise at the same time, really. It's a strange one. But you're right, yeah, it's an interesting point, that. It protects him, and
but that's why he keeps doing the same thing over and over again, because he'll never realise that it's his own fault. That's almost why he's incapable of growing as a person. But if he did, we wouldn't be able to laugh at him so much.
Exactly, yeah. It gives us 20-minute detours to do these pointless videos, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, so in summary, his head's wonky. I don't like his t-shirt.
And
his haircut sucks. But he's still ticking. He's got a smirk on his face at the end of the day.
Yeah. But hopefully that'll be wiped off when he dies soon.
Well, it depends how that happens, doesn't it?
Hopefully slowly and painfully.
We don't want him to die. We want new material.
You want him to live forever. Do you remember that call where he goes? That's another example of his delusion. That call where he goes, "I'm gonna live forever. I mean, I'm gonna live a long time." What the fuck?
I don't remember that.
You don't? I think it might be one of the Winnie calls. I'm not sure. Maybe someone that's listening will know, but there's definitely a call where she says like something like, I can't remember how it comes about, but then he just goes, "Well, I'm going to live forever." And then he almost realizes what a ridiculous statement it is. And he's like, "Well, a lot longer."
At least another month.
Yeah.
Wow. That's what you call. We've talked about him potentially having narcissistic personality disorder. I think that kind of nails it, really. He actually thinks he's immortal.
I think to an extent he may well do.
What?
I think he does think he's immortal.
Well, he will kind of live forever, really. If the internet's not going anywhere, that internet's never going to take off.
Yeah, I mean, that fad was going to die out soon.
Yeah. I fucking hate the internet. So that's one of my
You've got your face buried in that internet.
You've been on that internet again. Pay your gas bill.
He talks about it like it's a book, though, or someone's arse or vagina. It's like, you've got your face buried in that. Get it out. Pay some attention to me. Stop. You're in that internet all day long.
It could be written on his tombstone, right? The internet and Lorne Armstrong just didn't get along.
I died because of the internet.
Oh, Jesus.
I would have lost my virginity if it wasn't for that darned internet.
Oh, brilliant. I mean, he kind of virtually lost it. Oh, no, it's not actually true because it was all fake anyway.
Well, I would say he definitely busted a few nuts to some of those people doing some things with him. Although then that's something else ridiculous he says. There's quite a recent call where like Amy's like, go and get a condom. And he's like, no, I've already done it 5 times today. I'm like, fuck you have. You're 10 years older than me and I like twice is enough.
Yeah, we don't need to know that, dude.
You know, but just to put it in perspective. Like, he's having 5 wanks a day. His cock must be like a pepper army.
Lucky bastard.
Okay. No wonder he's got fucking callous, blistered hands if all he's doing is whacking off all day long.
Oh, Jesus. This has escalated. We were only looking at his photo, now we're talking about him tugging himself stupid. Anyway, we digress. Kind of. Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk about this brand new photograph that's been plastered on the internet.
Yes, it definitely has been a lot of fun. Can I read this poem before we go? Yeah.
Go on.
All right. He's got a YouTube channel and he streams all night long. He's got some opinions, but they may be wrong. He's got a YouTube channel and it's dedicated to Lorne Armstrong. He doesn't think that Lorne is wrong. He wants to eat dinner with him and wear his dinner ring. It should have been him at the sting. I have a theory, though, that Lorne Armstrong is his hero, because it's Andy Burkett and he's in his Birkenstocks, prowling the beach for young boys and their cocks, because it's Andrew Burkett and he's in his Birkenstocks, prowling the beach for young boys and their cocks. And it really is quite scary. He learned everything he knows from John Pierre Wary. If you pay his Patreon thing, then you're basically funding a paedophile ring. But he's very grateful you're not hateful because of his proclivities for sexual activities with little kiddies. Because it's Andrew Burkett and he's in his Birkenstocks, prowling the beach for young boys and their cocks. He's pulling out all the stops, not for you and me, but to come across as kid-friendly. Because it's Andy Burkett in his Birkenstocks, prowling the beach for young boys and their cocks.
It's a good job I've got a sense of humour.
It is, isn't it? I was quite pleased with that, though.
It was pretty good for about 15 minutes because you're good.
It was about 15 minutes, actually. It was just Burkett and Birkenstock, so I was like, that's got to go into a little rhyme.
The ironic thing about that is Lorne would be really jealous because you've actually come up with a humorous little rhyme there that genuinely took 15 minutes rather than his shite.
I can't remember his poem to Caleb, but it was some love bollocks, wasn't it? Yeah, but I was just drawing on my early 20s youth when I fancied myself as the next Eminem.
And look where that led you.
Yeah, nowhere. Just a life of crime.
Anyway, at least we can laugh about it, so it's all good. And thank you for that poem, Adam, and thank you for taking the time out of stalking pregnant, vulnerable, married women from the community. We do appreciate it.
I'm glad you appreciate that because that is what I do for the 14 hours that I'm awake a day.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Just searching for pregnant married women.
Yeah. Well, everybody has the preferences. There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. They're legal.
It's better than my preferences, according to your poem.
Well, yeah. Certainly better than wanking off over ultrasound pictures. And uploading country reviews to porn.
This video's just got progressively worse, hasn't it?
It definitely has. But that's what we're here for.
Yeah, right. Anyway, I think I'll edit that part out. Right. Okay, so right, okay, thanks for joining me anyway, Adam. Thank you for your humour and poetry skills.
Well, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure, as always.
And, everybody in the chat, leave any comments about wacky album titles for Lorne and anything else that you want to come up with. And
also, can we put a little poll out before we finish? Who would you rather have sex with, Sloth from the Goonies or Lorne? Put 1 for Sloth and 2 for Lorne.
I might even put a post out, an actual genuine poll on my channel.
That would be better. Yeah, do it professionally.
Yeah, all right then. But you don't forget to vote though.
Yeah, I'll vote. I know who I'm sleeping with.
Yeah, me too. If they don't go for like a threesome, then I've definitely got
both
me.
of them.
Yeah, I've definitely got the preference.
It's a real fucking train up in here.
Yeah. Right, I'll have to get going. Thank you very much. Thanks for everybody for listening, and we will catch you soon for more vulgarities. Take it easy.